Boss Man Stevenson, one half of Late Night at the Grill at the table. Boy, it's been a long week.
You said that last week too. I was like, oh, Late Night Girls. Okay.
It's been a long week, people. So I'm gonna say it again. I want to welcome everybody to Late Night at the Table. My name is Gavin, the Boss Man Stevenson. I have the lovely, lovely Lady J over here beside me. Go ahead and speak to the people, Lady J.
Hello, everybody.
She's always short, sweet, and to the point. Well, since last week was Lady J's birthday, I said, Lady J, you can pick the topic.
Why you keep saying, let me pick the topic?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
because we're a team. So, but she'll pick it and then be like, yeah, take it.
No, I mean, I just be, common courtesy of being the lady in the room. I try to let the man lead the way.
No, sometimes I realize sometimes when it comes to you, I gotta let you do your thing.
He keeps saying this word, let, y'all.
Well, go ahead and tell them what we're talking about then.
We are talking about how mental health affects your personal relationships.
If you're crazy, you're crazy.
Mental health don't always mean you're crazy.
You got a crazy something going on.
But that's not what mental health is.
Right.
It's a stigma.
It's a stigma. But when you say mental health, first thing that comes out of people's mouth is, that comes into people's brain is, that person's crazy as hell. Right or wrong?
I don't agree with that.
Well, some people do think that way.
Right, and that's the reason why these conversations need to be had so that the mentality of that can change.
Right. So, like I said, I'm not going to say let anymore. Lady J, lead the way.
Well, I picked this topic because I feel like there is a great plethora of people that deal with mental health issues and are unaware that that's what they're dealing with. We talked about toxic relationships last week, and with toxic relationships, you're dealing with 9 times out of 10 people who have mental illnesses. Mental illness does not mean you're crazy. It just means that you're dealing with something that is not normal or shouldn't be dealing with on an everyday basis. Depression is mental illness. That doesn't mean you're crazy. Depression don't make you crazy. Depression can make you lazy.
People can make you crazy.
Right. But I mean, depression, anxiety, PTSD, those are things that people deal with on an everyday basis that are not considered to be mental illnesses, but they are.
Right. They are. They really are. People, it's funny because we've said it before that a lot of times that when it comes to mental illness, us as black folks, we play it to the left.
Right. It's something that we don't like to talk about or address.
At all. And a lot of times we have to address it because it is a real thing in, the black community.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lady J, in your eyes, what is one of the biggest problems that you see when it comes to mental illness as into a relationship?
I think the number one problem is acknowledging that there is a problem.
Right.
A lot of people override it or sweep it under the rug as though, she's just being difficult, or she just got an attitude, or he's just being funky, or he acting like he don't care, when it could just be something that they're mentally dealing with.
Right. A lot of people don't want to deal with the mental, don't want to deal with it, period.
Right.
And a lot of times I can't really blame them because because a lot of people are not equipped to deal with mental illness as it comes. You know what I mean? We're not therapists.
Because that's something that we're not taught, especially in the black community. We're taught if it ain't Jesus or gin, and don't fix it.
Right.
Right.
If you can't pray over it,
right,
it ain't gonna get fixed.
Right. I've seen so many memes and videos when people are saying, "Oh well, depression isn't real, or anxiety isn't real, or that kind of stuff isn't real. It's just a demonic spirit," and blah 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 blah.
No, it's
yeah,
real.
bro, it's real.
It's real.
It's real.
I've been around people that, that I personally know that, you can actually see that person change in front of your eyes, and it's scary as hell. Like, you'll be like, wait, You were just 1 minute, 2 seconds ago.
Right.
And now you turned into a whole different person on me.
But mental illness can be something so quiet and so kept. I mean, especially with men. Men have a tendency to overlook their situations. Mental health, as far like, for instance, like depression. Depression can be just being isolated. Right. That's a mental illness.
Right.
Depression can be, I don't want to talk to nobody today. I'm going through something, I don't want to talk about it, so I'm going to hold it all in.
That's my problem.
That's a mental illness.
Right.
That's a form of depression.
I'm the type of person, only person that can honestly fix it is me. I don't care what nobody says. I'm gonna fix it. You can sit here and try and help, but if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. I don't really.
Right, but see, the problem with that is that you have to be able and willing to submit to the fact that you actually have a problem.
Right. And
that you're not capable of fixing everything on your own. And that's where we have, especially with the men, have the issue is we feel that, they feel that they can fix everything on their own, and that's impossible.
That's something that we have been, I would like to say that has been inbred. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Men you're going to fix it. If it's going to be fixed by anybody, it's going to be fixed by yourself. I'm here to tell you, man, it don't really work that way. It doesn't. Right. Even though you think that it will or it may, you'll sit there and think everything is all right and honk your door and then realize that everything is, you put yourself in a deeper issue than what you were in before. Mm-hmm. And that's what scares me a lot of times, because I'll sit there and get in my feelings and, disappear and don't realize that I put myself in a
worse state.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was reading on, I kind of like wrote a little something, was about the things that we tend to feel in those aspects, and one of them is shame, guilt, and resentment. Like, we're shameful that we're going through it. We feel guilty as though we could have prevented it, and resentment to anybody that has played a part in it. Right. But not knowing that these things are normal, these things do happen to everybody, not just some, and be willing to accept that.
Right. It's funny because, you say that a lot of people are not willing to accept, as I'm going to tell you, as men, we don't like to accept any motherfucker. Right. Like, we'll sit there and know things are wrong, and just like I said, it'll work itself out.
Right. And that doesn't work.
It does not work. It does not. You'll sit there, and like I said, a lot of times you'll become very miserable. Everything is an issue with you. Mm-hmm. Even when that person that loves you to death, and they love you,
but they become a problem. So now you don't want to hear nothing they got to say. No, fuck you. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It gets bad. Right. I know, because, like I said, I've been there. You know what I mean? For me to be in that situation, to sit there and say, well, I need help.
Right. That's why I said, even to the point of just being willing to submit to the fact that there's a problem,
that you need help,
the biggest and the hardest part for us to do. And with women also, we always get told that we're super emotional. Like something my brother likes to say, which drives me absolutely insane, is he always says stuff like, oh, you're thinking with your emotions, or you're dealing, you're in your feelings, you're in your emotions. Well, you'd rather me be in my feelings and my emotions than not, where I would hold it all on the inside and then murder you in your sleep.
Not in my sleep.
So let me deal with my feelings and emotions, and you deal with them,
You said you gonna kill me.
I'm just saying, like, you don't want to constantly, tell, because that's a bad thing to say to a woman. You always in your emotions and you always in your feelings.
I've learned that too. I don't say that no more.
Yeah, nope. Where am I supposed to be?
But when you say when you say something like that to me,
I'm in my feelings.
Yeah, I'll be like, you know what? Well, you stay there, and when you ready to come out, I'll be here. Because I don't sit there and be like, oh, you need to get out of them. How do you tell somebody to get out your feelings? They're yours. Right. How am I going to go about, you need to get out your feelings?
Right. And to me, I feel like nobody's allowed to say that. Mm-hmm. Nobody's allowed to say, get out your feelings, because if I'm there,
you're there.
I'm there.
I'm sorry. You're not going to be, oh, well, you know what? You're right. Let me turn around and get out my feelings.
And sometimes you might, realize that maybe this ain't where I'm supposed to be. Let me back up, But a lot of times when somebody gets in their feelings, there's a reason why they're in their feelings.
They're in their feelings for a reason.
Right.
100% correct.
Right.
I get in mine all the time, but the difference between me and other people is that I'm good at hiding them but then I'll say this, I'll hide them until I can't hide them any longer. Mm-hmm. And then that's when shit starts to pour out.
Well, in a relationship, how do you feel like you can notice that something like that is happening with your significant other?
How do you notice?
Yeah, because that's a thing too. When we was at the Juneteenth thing, and I was speaking to the guy, Chemist Oil. Yeah. One of the things that a lot of things I was pointing out, he was like, I never even took the time to look at that. So how do you know this, or do you even take the time to look at it?
I hope you do, because hell, one day it may save your motherfucking life that you know that she is. I'm not gonna say she, but you know that your significant other is at their breaking point. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because when it's funny, because when you get to that point in your life and you're like, wait, I don't know, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Right. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm gonna sit here and try to work this out, or if I'm gonna sit here and try to choke this person out. All the above. It might not even be something toward you. It could be something so simple as, like with women, we deal with postpartum things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, if you're in a situation where your significant other, and I'm using a woman because I'm a woman. I can read her face.
It ain't always in the face, though.
The person I deal with is always in the face.
But it's not, because what you think, it might be something totally different.
But you know what? The best thing to do, I'm going to tell you the best thing to do is just ask. Instead of sitting here and guessing, there's nothing wrong with asking. Now, if you ask and that person tells you, well, I don't want to talk about it, or I don't want to say anything about it, then that's a different story. Then you back up. You don't push that person. What you did is when you asked, you opened up that door to say, okay, I'm here if you need to talk to me.
But the problem I have with people asking is a lot of times people ask, and what are you asking for? Are you asking just because you just want to be nosy and know? Because a lot of people ask and are not prepared to help or do anything about it. So right. Why ask me if you're not going to do anything about it?
I totally agree with that as well, because you're not supposed to ask. If you can't deal with the situation, I'll say this, if you ask at that point in time and you're not prepared to deal with that situation, don't ask. Leave it where it's at, people. Don't bother him. If you're not prepared to help to fix that situation, don't ask.
Or even point them in the right direction.
Right.
Because my biggest thing is a lot of times I deal with people and they're going through things and I may not necessarily know how to fix it. So my question is always, what do you need from me? Because you might just need an ear. You might just need somebody to sit there and listen.
9 out of 10, that's what they need.
Right, but I don't know that.
Right,
because
you're a great listener.
A great listener, but I'm also a solutions person.
Yes, you are.
So I like to. If we're gonna talk about something, while we're talking about it, let's come up with solutions. So that's what I'm saying. You might not want me to. That's something that. Me and my friend Sister Trill used to talk about all the time. Was a lot of times I would be talking to her, and because she's solution based, her first thing is, "All right, sis, what we gonna do? All this crying ain't gonna do now. What we gonna do?"
And I'm a big. You already know I'm a big person on that, because you can cry all day long, people. But into my eyes, and I know it's certain people, it's how they express their emotions. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? Certain people, they express their emotions that way. Mm-hmm. But me personally, I am the type of person is that when you cry and it's over with, you still have to deal with that issue at hand. So in my mind, let's stop using all this energy that we're using, and let's use this energy to get to where we need to get to.
I mean, that's true. But even like I was saying, in our relationship, being my best friend's relationship, she's told me now, she had to learn that sometimes it's okay to cry. It's okay to get it out. It's okay to release it. It's okay to do, take the time that you need, because crying could be a grieving point. Crying could be a shedding or renewal of some point. So getting that off of you is sometimes needed. Oh, hey, Sister Shirley on here. She said sometimes you have to ask to know how to approach or handle people. Exactly. And I used to say all the time that I just need you to listen to me, sis. Even if you don't want to hear what I gotta say, just listen to me. Because sometimes I can figure out my own stuff when I talk it out, or I hear it versus trying to figure it out all on the inside of my head. So I do believe that that's a way. One of the things I had wrote down was most cases in people with depression or anxiety, they find it difficult to follow through with simple tasks and have limited emotional availability. So a person who has limited emotional availability, like, how do you deal with that?
I'm not good at dealing with anything that's limited. I'll tell you the truth.
But most men are limited.
That's why I'm facts.
Right.
Sometimes
you guys are very limited.
And
on
sometimes
emotions.
I'm not good at dealing with my motherfucking self.
Oh Lord. But for your partner, that can be that could put a very serious strain on your relationship.
Right.
Because if your person does not know how to interact with you in certain situations, then 9 times out of 10 they don't want to interact at all. And they'll back up and leave the situation alone, and then you have a disconnect in your relationship. Right.
You have a disconnect, and also then that's when you have problems.
Right. It's where the resentment sets in.
Because then you start to feel like, okay, well, I can help you. So, and then a lot of times, I'm going to tell you, a lot of times that I feel like if I can't help you, you go get it from, why are you going to get it from somewhere else?
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of people get that way. Why are you going to go get it from her? Or why are you going to go get it from him? What's the issue with that? And I tell you all the time, if you can't talk to the person that you love or you deal with, you're going to have a hard time in this relationship.
Right, and that's why I'm very adamant on people being friends too. Because if I'm not your friend, you're very rarely going to, confide in me.
Right. Well, and I get that sometimes.
That's
I get that sometimes. You know what I mean? And a lot of times people skip that. You know what I mean? They'll skip the friends part and go straight into a relationship. Fuck that friend shit. Let's go to fucking. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't have time.
And that just all depends on what you're looking for. Sister Trish say, if you know the source of depression, then that is a better starting point, right? But that's like I said at the beginning, it also depends on the person acknowledging the fact that they even have an issue. A lot of people can't even say I'm depressed or even know what depression looks like. Think that everything is okay, so therefore that's not what it is. And she also said it helps your partner not take it personal. Exactly.
Well, I'm going to tell you sometimes, I ain't going to lie to you, I take it personal.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I feel like I can't help you, sometimes I feel like incomplete. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't help you figure out what the problem is. And
I understand that, because I used to have this issue with, if I couldn't fix it, I felt like I had no purpose.
And then you worry about somebody else fixing it. You know what I mean? You're like, well, I can't fix this problem. Where the hell else you going to go to get this problem fixed at?
Right.
You know what I mean? So then you go to thinking like, okay, well, he's doing this and he's doing that, or she's doing this, she's doing that,
But a lot of times I also feel like we have to stop being selfish in our motives. When we're dealing with other people, it's not always about us.
Right.
And thinking about somebody else, you have to take yourself completely out of the situation. If I'm dealing with somebody and they're going through something, I know for a fact I didn't do anything to make you go through that.
But
I didn't do anything to help you get there. I didn't, if you're going through something on your job. But
at the same time, let me ask you this. At the same time, do you feel like if you didn't help the person get from that do you feel like, well, maybe, am I the problem?
No.
Okay.
If you're having a problem on your job and you're stressed out because of your job, I don't work there. I didn't do that. I didn't make you feel that way. So I can be a support system and I can be the vacation that you're looking for, but I didn't do anything to do that.
Did you get that one? I know you watching. Did you get that one?
I didn't do anything to get that. If you're having issues financially, I didn't cause that. I didn't do that.
I got a comment over here. My husband has a tough time expressing himself.
I recommend counseling.
I recommend counseling. Well,
counseling
great.
is a great thing.
But it's only great when the two people want to accept it.
Right, but what I'm saying, she recommended it. She's not forcing. She recommended it.
Right.
And because you recommended, that's a great start. Because I can be honest with myself. I deal with depression and anxiety. I didn't know how to deal with it or how to communicate it without going to therapy.
I had to go to therapy.
I recommend that.
I had to go to therapy because you may not believe this, but I have anger issues.
You don't say.
I have anger issues, people. And I got to a point at one time that I was at the point that I was taking it out on everybody and everything around me. You know what I mean? Work, home, and all that stuff. And I had to go see a therapist. I did such. And what it taught me was ways that I can use that anger, you know what I mean, in ways that I need to. Like I learned how to, you know what I mean, I learned meditation. I learned that a lot of times, you know what I mean, I'm not angry at people. A lot of times you're angry at yourself. You know what I mean, the things that you've done that you can't, you know what I mean, you really can't fix and you're not trying to fix. That's the problem, people. A lot of us don't be trying to fix the issues.
Right.
We'll let the issues go and go and go. And like I said, as black people, we'll let it sit there until it's going to fix itself. Right. No, it doesn't just fix itself.
It doesn't. And that's, therapy is something that Tria also said, also separate in couple counseling. Exactly, because you need to work on self. And that was one of my biggest things too, is learning how to work on yourself. It helps with the mental issues in your relationship. Knowing that, taking accountability for your own actions and knowing that this is a problem and I need to fix it and nobody can fix it if I'm not willing to do the work for it.
Accountability, that's a great word.
I love something that we don't like to do.
At all. But it is a great word. We tell me I'm be accountable for what I do. What?
Yeah, we don't like to do that.
I'm not doing that.
Right.
You can't force me to do it.
Right. Another issue that deals with
you go ahead.
along with depression is health issues. Mental illness can affect you physically. When you are going through stuff mentally, you will totally disregard your own body. You know, being in the state where I was depressed and, you know, going through things like that, I totally disregarded my health. You know, gained 200 pounds in that process.
Can you see that?
But
it's another one on there. Can you see that?
Kyra said, what's crazy is a lot of people feel needing to go to some type of counseling is so bad. I never understood that. Well, it's like that because, you know, especially us being African American, that's something that's totally against us. You know, like I said before, you know, a lot of our households are Christian based or religious based.
God's gonna fix it.
God gonna fix it, and Jesus gonna on the main line call him up and tell him what you want. So therefore, we don't use professional help.
Yeah, let's come up short.
But the thing is, you know, yes, God can fix things, but God's put people in your life and avenues for ways for you to get help, and it's up to you to use them.
Right.
You can't drink it away. You can't smoke it away. You can't sex it away. You know, like those are things that you can't get rid of it that way. You have to actually do the mental work to get it away.
But we damn sure try to, don't we?
And it fucks you up 10 times worse. And
we damn sure try. Being here thinking, well, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this pill. I'll be alright.
Yeah, but your problems are still there when you come back.
That's what I be trying to tell people when they go through all this crazy shit. Your problems are still going to be there when you come back to it. So let's cut out all that middleman shit You know what I mean? All that self-healing, all that, you know what I mean? Healing that way. And let's get to the real issue.
Well, that's the toxic and the negativity stuff, but we do that on an everyday basis. I may not pop no pills, you know, or shoot up no veins or snort no powder up my nose, but a good cup of chocolate chip cookies might make the situation a little bit better.
I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, when I get to that point that I'm going down the drain, I'm not gonna lie to you. You already know I'll disappear.
Right, but you also drink.
I'll drink my ass off.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
It's a total, you know, breakdown of your body. You would basically kill yourself trying to self-soothe. I mean, but my thing is, what do you do as a partner in that situation? What do you do as a partner in a situation where you're seeing your partner totally deteriorate or totally tear itself down because they don't want to attack their own mental issues or want to...
What do you do? I can tell you what you do. First of all, you listen. If they want to talk, listen to them. But, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you have to be... I totally want to be there to help. I'm not going to sit there and criticize because that doesn't work, right? Does criticism work? Like, oh, you doing this because of this one. That's what you get. You know what I mean? Let me hear your problem. A lot of people do that.
Right. Criticizing doesn't work, no. Sister Tria says mental health has also separating couple counseling. The mental health has an appropriality attached to intelligence, right? Because just because you're getting help doesn't mean you're stupid. She also said we assume mental challenges means that something is wrong with you, and it doesn't. It's something that we all deal with, and we don't try to seek any help to deal with it. As we're speaking, deteriorating right in front of our eyes. With health issues, it says we can also suffer from a lack of sleep. And a lack of sleep actually weakens your immune system and actually has you in a state where you cannot think logically. So if you're not getting into sleep, more than likely you're not able to think on a logical basis.
I got one here. That's how I ended up smoking black cigarettes because I couldn't cope with life. Once I got help, I quit smoking cold turkey. I'm so proud of you on that because you know what? Smoking is and smoking is probably worse than a lot of drugs. You know, I tell people all the time.
You're about running neck and neck.
Yeah, because you know what I mean. You can start smoking, never quit, ever. You smoke it all your damn life. But you know, I'm proud of you because you ain't got help in the first place. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, like we say, they'll sit there and hope that this fixes itself. And I'll tell you people over and over and over again, it doesn't. And to be able to go get counseling and go be able to talk to somebody and somebody's talking back to you and you getting that, you know, a lot of times that back and forth helps a lot.
But I have a problem with back and forth with no substance. I have an issue with that. I have an issue with having a conversation and it doesn't go anywhere. So, talking.
Hope goes somewhere.
No, not every conversation goes anywhere.
I said I hope.
Right, but I'm not saying, but every conversation doesn't. So hopefully, we can have conversations and dialogues that actually have some type of substance and can help move. Because talking to the wrong person, you'll be in worse states than you started.
You ain't never lied. Because I'm going to tell y'all this. Like what your mama always say, everything that look good ain't good for you.
True.
You know what I mean? And you can be sitting there thinking that this person has your greatest interest or your, you know what I mean? That cares about you and all this stuff, and come to find out they don't really give two shits about you. Like, you know what I mean? You're just somebody that they can just hold on to and just be like, okay, well, I'm just going to hold on to you. You're going to do what I do, and we're going to do, you know what I mean? It never works out. It never works out. It's not the best thing in the world.
Another problem that can arise is intimacy issues. I was reading something today about some of the things that guys would like for women to know. was that a lot of times that things that they deal with intimate wise has nothing to do with you. A lot of times it's what they're dealing with on their own personal levels and their own issues. Because as women, if you're dealing with a guy and things ain't going how it's supposed to go, you looking like, well, what's wrong with me? What did I do? You're not attracted to me. But we forget that they have their own issues that go through things mentally, and it's not always us. It could be them. So we have to be empathetic and compassionate on that end, because they're human and their bodies, just like our bodies don't react when we going through shit, theirs do too. So it happens. What? So I thought that was kind of cool, because like again, we take things personally and we shouldn't all the time. It's not always about us. It's about the other person.
Right.
It also says that many people with mental health conditions may feel inadequate and have performance anxiety and low self-esteem. Both partners, this can lead to decreased opportunity for bonding and result in unmet needs, which is crazy because what do you do when you have a partner that's not able to meet your needs? How do you deal with that?
Give them a rose.
Do y'all agree with that?
Y'all probably don't, but you know what I mean. Ain't no man gonna be like, "Well, I can't please you. Go out and get it from somewhere else."
That's not what you would do in a relationship,
right,
sir? So in a relationship, if that's a problem, what would you suggest?
What they say black people do. You know what I mean? If it's broken, God go fix it. We gonna keep on fucking. No. Then tell me then, Lady J, what do you do?
I mean, I'm asking you.
How can you ask me? I don't.
Well, my suggestion would be for the person who is having the issues, just to be considerate of your partner. Know that you're not the only one who goes through things, and because some people use sex as a stress reliever. And that's something that's crazy. When I was in therapy, group therapy, that's something that my doctor suggested all the time. He was like, look, if you're married or something like that, that could be a great stress reliever. Sister Shirley said, have a conversation. All needs may not be sexual. Exactly.
Facts.
Right, exactly.
Facts.
Right,
but
for yourself. But what I'm saying is, you're absolutely right. Because not every aspect of intimacy is sexual. There's a difference between intimacy and sexual. So, but that's a thing too, though. In a lot of relationships, men don't know how to be intimate, and a lot of women don't either.
I'm about to say,
because that's not what we're taught. We don't know that. Most of our sexual experiences have been rude, abrupt, and unloving. So therefore,
come on, give me that goddamn thing.
So a lot of times, intimacy is something that we have to learn as we get older. So
how much older do you have to get to learn it, though?
Whichever, the same way people have to be old enough to know to stop lying. We learned that we lying at 2. People still be lying at 50.
I got a couple friends like
that. The next thing. Hey, Shanika. I see my friend Shanika on here. I hope you're feeling better, boo. Mental disconnect. We talked about that a little bit. But one of the things that I realized when I'm in a mental disconnect, it can only affect you in your intimate relationships. It can affect you in your parental relationships.
You may have to explain parental relationships to some of these people. See if they already put a thumbs up.
Well, because they're agreeing, right? But I said that because it can, affect your dynamic relationship as a parent. You can push your toxic traits onto your children and create a cycle of unhealed mental mess. When we cannot take the time to realize that we have to unlearn some shit, we will fuck up our children.
Quick.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that I'm in a phase in my life that I know that everything that I taught was not right. Everything from yelling at my kids to spanking my kids. But I had to be willing to unlearn that. And a lot of us aren't willing to unlearn shit. We just go, oh, my mama did it and it worked for them. And my grandma and it worked for them.
No, it didn't work for them. You just got tired of getting your ass whooped all the time.
Right.
That's what happened.
And nowadays kids are different anyway. So you have to be able to communicate with your children.
Right.
From the ages of from birth to adulthood.
Because we were used to getting our asses whipped. Boy, these kids right now, boy, you pull a belt on them, they can be like, what you want me to put it on?
I mean, yes and no, but I feel like too, kids don't know how to communicate because parents don't communicate with their kids.
Right.
You know, our kids talk side crazy and stupid to us and tell us what they gonna do because we don't talk to them. We automatically expect for them to know.
No, listen, right? You are right about that but see, that goes against another thing that we talked about before. Is how how we grew up compared to our kids our kids are growing up, because I know how you treat yours and you know how I treat mine. We give our kids everything they want. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Well, you do.
I don't.
You do go above and beyond.
I go above and beyond because that I can.
Right.
But I don't give my children everything that they want. I give my children access to certain things, but give them everything they want. They don't have. Ask my children. They don't have everything that they want.
You knew what I meant there.
Right. I mean, I give them.
Like I said, Lady J's a great mom.
That I believe so.
She's a great mother. So, besides of material things, you give them everything they want emotionally and everything else as well. I've seen you do that.
But I feel like that's what they need to thrive as people. So no, but I think it's what they need to thrive as children.
But a lot of times, like I said, we let them take. I ain't gonna lie to you. I got 3 girls, and sometimes I get to the point I let them take advantage of them because I'm a softy when it comes to them. You know what I mean? They're my babies. But now
they whooping your ass.
Now Daddy's starting sitting right starting to show up every now and again. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's my fault, but I'm willing to accept it.
Right. Me and Tria talk all the time and talk about the monsters that we have created because we've created our monsters. We've given them everything. We give them what they want. And it's not even everything, but we've given them a voice. Because one thing that we didn't have growing up was a voice.
Yeah, you couldn't talk.
You couldn't say anything.
You wasn't.
Yeah.
Big Mama, you remember when?
Right. Yeah, you couldn't talk. But one thing that my grandmother did. My grandmother broke that. When I was growing up, my grandmother would tell me all the time, baby, you say what you need to say when you want to say it. And so growing up, I was always considered to be the opinionated one or the one who had the most mouth and stuff like that. It wasn't that I had a mouth. I just wasn't stupid. So I said what I wanted to say, So, and I thank my grandmother for that because that allowed me to know that what I said mattered. I hate my mom did something with my kids the other day and told my son his opinion didn't matter.
Oh, Lord.
It pissed me off. And I had to tell my mom, don't you ever tell my children their opinions don't matter because they do. Even though we may not want to hear them. And my kids are very mannerable. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. No, sir, no, yes, sir.
She's not going to say, listen. Tell them what do they call you?
Mother.
They don't say mom. They say mother. Yes. It trips me out every time that I hear it.
My kids are very, mannerable and proper.
And it's not just one of them. It's all 4 of them. They all say,
But it's crazy. I feel my kid, my oldest son, Jalil, he's 21. He tells me all the time, Mom, I call you that because you deserve to be called that. And I'd be like, wow, did not think that. I just
did not think that.
Yeah, but he said you deserve to be called mother. He said you're a great mom. You're a great mom, and I just we call you mother. Did you read that? You want me to read it? Can you see it?
I'm trying to up my glasses.
Kara said a lot of parents are not straight up with their kids, and they don't realize if you fuck up, it's okay to apologize to your kids. My mom was guilty of that. Right. And I am the type of person, I ask my kids, what do you need from me as a parent? Because sometimes we thinking, my second son, Joel, one day he was like, you always emotional. I said, oh, okay. So what I did was I flipped the script on him. And I became quiet and hard and didn't say much to him, whatever. He came in my room. He said, "Can I have my old mama back?"
Right.
I said, "Oh, so you missed the emotional mom. You missed the..." He like, "Yeah, I want my old mama back." I said, "Okay. I gave you what you wanted because that's what you said you needed from me at the moment."
Mm-hmm.
You know, my mom was not an apologetic mom either. She hobbling to say, "I'm sorry," was no. But now I got to give her to her. My mom is quickly to say, "If I'm wrong, I'm sorry." You know, and that makes our relationship stronger.
You know, my youngest, like I told myself, I said I got away with all them kids. All my kids are good male, well mannered kids. Mm-hmm. But that baby of mine, that little motherfucker gonna give me all the hell I need in my life.
Well, but you know, it's always one of them.
Right.
That's gonna pay you back.
Know, and she has a trait that I had when I was young, and you know what I mean. And I was never the one to sit there when I knew that all I had to say was okay or this and that. No. I've always been the person I'm going to be right. You're going to be wrong. I don't care what you say, what you do. I still do it sometimes too. But, you know what I mean? It's funny how you pass things along. You know what I mean? I don't think she's ever seen me like that, but I swear she's just like it. And she don't know when it's time to, okay, let me just put my hands up and say, you got it.
Well, now that you know that, because I have a Jayla in my house, even though he has a penis, I have a Jayla in my house. One of my sons acts exactly like me. What I try to do is think about what I needed as a kid that I didn't get. So what do you think she needs? What would you have needed to correct that as a kid?
She needed an ass whooping. No,
Did ass whoopings change you?
Hell no.
Okay, so
I just got tired of getting. I was the one that got tired of being whooped.
Okay, so what did you need?
I needed people to be patient with me. Patience goes a long way in every type of relationship. Not even just with your kids,
right?
Or with it. Patience is, when they say it's a virtue, it is a true virtue, people. Being able to be patient with somebody, you know what I mean, it takes a whole lot. Don't get me wrong. It takes a whole lot to be patient with that person. But once you are patient with it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Things work out so much better. Mm-hmm. When you sit here and you be like, look, I know that we're having issues, and I know that, you know, I know we need to talk it out. I know we got to work things out to get to what we need to get to. But just being patient with that person goes a long way with just being, Lord, you just talk to me when you feel like talking to me.
Mm-hmm. So my thing is, this time, if you can realize that and you can notice that those are things that you did in your younger days that she's doing, this is a time for you to actually break and unlearn some things. If she's doing things that you've seen before, then say, you know what, this is Lil Gavin. What would I tell Lil Gavin? How would I help Lil Gavin? That ain't fix you.
Yeah, never lie.
So we supposed to be teaching our kids things that we didn't learn. Nobody took the time to teach us. So what would you teach her?
I would teach her to be able to use, like I say, to use the words. Mm-hmm. A lot of times when she's sitting there and her mother and me are sitting there and her mother says, use your words, I can see like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I took that. Let me take this gas over here, get it all in, and
express.
Boom, and then it's like, I'm like, wait a minute. You mean that's all it took? Because I was about to beat the brakes off your motherfucking ass. Because like I was taught. Look, my parents taught me, when you have kids and they want to act crazy, you act crazy right where they act crazy at.
That's something that we have to unlearn. It don't work.
I tell you, bro, I be wanting to pick her up and put her in the hat saw figgy foe and
And I mean, sometimes children may need a little pop out every now and then.
I didn't want to Ric Flair her,
But if you don't want her to do the same things, it has to be taught. It can't be whooped in her. It can't be spanked in her. That's not gonna work.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. So just gotta take a little time and patience, Father, and work that out. Another one of the things that I had was, as far as mental illnesses are concerned, is codependent behaviors.
Ooh.
And I think that's big on learning to work on yourself. We sometimes jump into situations because we don't want to deal with our own personal issues. We don't want to look at ourselves. So we take the time to jump into relationships or jump into situations where it takes the focus off of us. And that can screw you up and the person that you're dealing with up. The things that what I kind of compiled was codependency is an unhealthy relationship pattern that manifests as one partner is enabling another person's poor mental health. Even with addictions and coping strategies, like if you got a person that's an alcoholic or deals with depression or whatever by drinking, you don't want to say, well, babe, it's okay. We'll have to drink one time and it'll fix it.
He smoked rocks. Come on, let's go get a rock real quick.
No, not even go get a rock real quick, but he asked you for $20 and you know that $20.
$20. Look, 20 don't go far nowadays.
Right, but it'll get him what he needs to fix. Right. And it also allows that person with the mental illness to start to deprive their self-worth or derive their self-worth from the degree to which they are needed. Or
that's funny. A lot of people just, I'm so glad you said that. A lot of people just sometimes need to feel needed.
And that's a big male thing. Most men want to be in relationships where they feel needed. I know I'm like that too. Like I feel like if I'm in a relationship and you don't need me in some aspect, what is the purpose of me being here? I feel like I might as well not be here. I do my thing, you do your thing. Well, and then no point in me being here. So why am I here? I'm a big person on reassurance too, because you need to tell me why am I here. I don't get it, but I don't get it, but it's something that I need to function in the relationship. Right.
I should have said it.
In extreme cases, codependency can increase the risk of abusive behaviors, including manipulation, name calling, and unhealthy dynamics. Knowing how to distinguish the need and encourage and support from codependent natures will help the person's symptoms. Now,
first of all, before we even get started, I tell you this every time: keep your hands on people's child.
True.
Now you can go ahead, lady Jen.
But that's just like manipulation, because people like to make you try to feel bad when they fucked up.
Yeah.
And now you're not happy with the decisions that they've made, so now they want to make you feel some type of way because they decided to make some fucked up decisions.
It's amazing, isn't it? Like, you fucked up and now I'm the one that's got to be...
Or a person who likes to limit your anger. Like if you
How do you limit somebody? Please,
let me show you. Oh, okay. When somebody says stuff like, if you're upset and somebody did something and you're upset, and they say stuff like,
"Son of a bitch,
are you gonna be mad for long? Are you gonna be mad all day, all night?" So we're limiting how I'm feeling. That's narcissistic.
Oh, God.
And that's something that we might want to talk about and deal with, because that's something that you don't.
My God. I feel right.
Yeah. So you have to be willing, to, if you've chosen to make a fuck up decision, to deal with your decision. You can't be mad because you ain't man up to your own decision. You gotta take your own consequences for your decisions. Why you hate me, sir? What did I do? I'm just saying, we just talk about what's on the paper. You know, and also, you know, with the codependency thing, one of the things I put in is people will get into relationships because they're avoiding their own healing process. Like you really need to heal yourself and better yourself. But instead, you'd rather focus on something or someone else. Which I understand. I do that a lot of times too. When I going through stuff, I rather hear other people's problems than hear my own. Yeah. So what do you say, Gavin? What's when you're risking codependent behaviors? What did I do? No, I just gave an example of what the paper said. Yeah. You felt that, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Work on it. Yeah. Get that together. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Shit.
See.
Look here, Hurricane. I don't need you giving me thumbs up and laughing at me while I'm going through this shit.
You know, it is what it is. Anything you want to add to that, though? You know, if you're able to, elaborate on it, because maybe you've been through it or you've done it. Are you able to talk about that?
She's right, people. She's right. You should never try to hinder somebody's anger. I'm good at it. I don't know what you're talking about. But see, I can admit that, though. Not really. That hurt a little bit.
Right.
I had to let that one.
Well, so you got a couple things on your paper. You want to, say anything?
You basically said everything I said. The one that I wanted to really talk about was social anxiety.
Mm.
Extreme fear of social stimulation with people. Mm-hmm. Anxiety may be very nervousness being around people. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are nervous being around people. Mm-hmm. You may feel like, you're being judged all the time. And the reason I wanted to say that one is because of how the world is now. It used to be a place that you had to be upfront with people and you had to actually be in front of somebody to talk. Mm-hmm. Now that shit's dead. When it comes to social media has killed a lot of things. It's funny. I was sitting outside talking to some of the guys outside the club one night, and we were talking about phone numbers and phones and stuff like that. I said, I'll make you a $50 bet right now. He said, bet. I said, right now, what is your mama's phone number?
Oh, I know mine, but
he didn't know his own mama's phone number.
Because the phone has enabled us, right?
He didn't know his own mama's phone number. I took them $50 quick. But the thing is, like, when I sit there and say to people, like, when you let social media speak, a lot of people let social media speak for them. Mm-hmm. A lot of us let social media be, like I said, we let it speak. That's the main thing. We let it speak for us, and it's sad because back in the day, you used to have to be able to say something to your significant other. A lot of times, and I get a little upset about it. I'm working on it. Mm-hmm. That I see that, I see things on social media and I be like, let me be cool about it. I'm working on it. Especially when people know I'm working on it, people. It's a slow process. But yeah, social anxiety is just, and then not being able to be around people when you're in a relationship. not being able to be around the person that you're in a relationship with because you don't know how you may act, or you don't know how they may act to the problems at hand that you have.
Well, I think when it comes to social anxiety, because that's something that I deal with, and I dealt with social anxiety since high school.
And I don't know why, because you are a social butterfly.
I am not. People flock to me.
Oh,
People come to me. I am a person who people will come and lay out their whole lifeline and their problems to me, and
I'll be sitting there
I didn't ask this. I didn't ask for none of this.
And y'all don't understand that she is telling you facts. We could be sitting at the Davinoff, having a cigar and a drink, and next thing you know, and when I hear that, I'm like, oh.
People will sit there and give me their whole lifeline. And a part of me know I think it's a spiritual gift. I'm not going to get too deep into that. But I think that's what it is. People just draw to me.
You're right. I do need another shot after that one.
You know what? But I think I dealt with social anxiety growing up because I was always, I had went through a situation where I was being picked on. And being picked on all the time, you care about what people think. You think everybody.
You
really can see how you fuck up with feng shui.
I just can't see it.
How you figure?
Can't see it.
I ain't always. This one always me.
I just can't see because this is all I know.
But you've seen pictures.
And every time. Let's not go there.
No, I'm just saying. I've never been like I've always been a girl that dress, keep her hair done, nails done, all that kind of stuff. But
guys, I seen a picture of Lady J my very first time, and Lady J, can I tell the story? No. Okay.
Because I don't think I'm gonna like the way you tell it. So.
But no, I'm talking about the one we were in the club, and the big girl walked past me. So it's a good story.
Okay.
So we were in the club. We was in Dreams. And Lady J said, I used to be this. And like I said before, I stalked her Facebook page. Because I did before. I did. But before I stalked it, this is all I seen of Lady J. When I first met her, this is what I saw. Lady J told me I used to be a big girl. I said, well, ain't nothing wrong with a big girl. So one day, this big girl walked past. You remember, because I was sitting, you remember what I'm talking about now? Mm-hmm. And I looked over at Lady J, and Lady J nodded her head, and I looked at her, I said, let's get the fuck out of here. I was like, if y'all would have seen the girl, y'all would have been like, what in the fuck? And she nodded her head and said, and then when you said that, that's when I went to go back to the pictures. Mm-hmm. I had to go back to the pictures.
But see, that's another thing too that I posted this on my page today too. About people and their perception of big women. Big don't mean ugly.
It don't.
It just basically means exactly what it is, big. So
got a whole lot more to play with.
Right? People say stuff like, "Oh, girl, you always been beautiful." Well, bitch, I ain't never said I was ugly. I just said I was fat. Yeah. There's the difference, It's a whole lot more to play with. So. I feel, by me growing up, I had social anxiety because of things like that. I always felt people were looking at me or judging at me or staring at me or whatever.
Who don't like a big girl?
That's a lot of people that don't.
You don't like a big... You don't want something that you can run up and tackle? Boom.
See, why would that be the first thing you think of to run up and tackle a big girl?
You in there and we in there, nothing wrong with nothing. You totally can't. Let me stop.
Well, but that's the thing. That's exactly why big girls feel the way they do.
I love you.
Is because stupid comments like that.
That's not a stupid comment.
To say about running up and tackle. I'm a woman, sir. Regardless of what size I am, I'm a woman. I don't want to be tackled by a man.
And a beautiful one at that.
Okay,
I'm not making it no better.
At all.
How can you want me to stop?
Please.
Okay.
That's exactly why big girls have social anxiety right there, because that's what people think about us. Oh, she a big girl, she can cook. Oh, she a big girl, I can handle her any kind of way. No, sir, I'm still a woman. I still want to be handled like a lady. Period. Okay, so yeah, back to social anxiety.
Y'all know how I get. I'm about to get quiet.
Social anxiety, plays a part. But the thing about it is, if you're with somebody and they have social anxiety, it is the most amazing thing to be with somebody and feel safe with that person. That they don't have a hot head. They're not going to pop off at any moment. That they just make you feel like they will, take care of you in that situation. And it's not about them. It's about you. About making sure you feel safe. So if you're dealing with somebody who has social anxiety, just make sure you reassure them that they're safe and not, in your presence and around you. A lot of men have problems with reassurance though. So once they get past that, things will get better. Okay, anything else you want to talk about in the paper? Okay, no. So, on mine, I have a couple last points.
We're going to have a long discussion after this.
Whatever.
We'll have a long discussion.
I want to say things like, if you're dealing with a person who has mental issues, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's not funny.
I can't stand when people try to make a joke out of it when it's something really serious.
But all of it's serious. It may not be that serious to you, but it's serious to them. So it's not funny. It's not something that you want to joke about. Also, knowing your partner's triggers. If you're dealing with somebody who has mental issues or have gone through things, know certain things that trigger them, and how you can take a simple situation and turn it into a whole catastrophe because you triggered something in them. You got to learn that because you'll lose them that way. And be willing to submit. And when I say submit, that's for the person who has the issue. Be willing to submit to the fact that you got an issue and you actually need help.
You actually need help?
Yeah, because some people don't want to get help. They just want attention. And that's not how you heal mental health. With attention. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Just get the help. Get the help that you need. And if you have to, one thing I was watching, about I think it's called Stefan Speaks. He's a guy who talks on I watch him a lot on YouTube, and he talked about when you're dealing with certain things like that, make sure that you disconnect from negativity. You disconnect from people who bring up your triggers. You disconnect from people who make you feel like what you're going through isn't serious.
If you are dealing with somebody that makes you go through that, is that not considered toxic?
It's toxic and abusive.
Right.
But some people don't care. If I tell you I've been through situations where abandonment issues, why would you do anything that would make me feel like you're abandoning me at this time? But again, people don't think about that. They think about what they want, so they don't think about their partner. So you just got to be willing, relationships, period. If it's you and your significant other, you and your kids, you and your mom, you and your dad, it's not about you all the time. It's about them. Right. And if you can't get that together, then you need to step back. That's another thing too that I read, was to stop looking and stop preparing and just work on you. If you want to have a successful relationship, sometimes it's best to not be in one and work on you. Right. Because
sometimes you're the problem.
Right.
You don't know that you're the problem, but you'll sit here and act like everything else is the problem. No. Guess what, guys?
Right. You're the problem.
You're the issue.
It's okay.
It's all right to be the issue. Because I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, this the third time this happened to me. You got to start thinking that maybe you're the problem and that's not the problem. You know what I mean? And especially when it's like 3 different people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're in 3 different relationships with 3 different people, and the same shit keep happening. Yep.
That's you. That's not them.
Right.
That's definitely you.
Right. And it could be the fact how you got a relationship and you picked the same exact person you just left.
Right.
Right.
Because that's all. If that's all you know, that's all you know.
Right.
You're gonna go looking for the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? You're gonna go looking for the same abusive motherfucker that talk shit to you, that treat you like shit, because that's all you know.
Right, but when you work on yourself and you learn different things, you'll be able to acknowledge what's not healthy in a healthy relationship and what's, what you need to be in a healthy relationship.
Right. I like I said, I hate to see people go through, stuff when they're, especially when you're not fully mentally stable. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody's gonna go through problems.
Of course.
But when you're not mentally stable for those problems and you go through them, it's just way worse to see what happens to that person. It's like watching across. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say that because I know today was not a good day for Lady J, but it's like standing outside and watching a car wreck. You know what I mean? And you sit there, you can't do nothing about it,
right? Because it's happening.
It's happened,
right?
But it's hard to sit there and watch it, and it's hard for, like, people like us that always, when, like I tell you, we be out in the street and people be like, oh, blah blah blah, late night at the table. You're sitting there, you're watching. We watching people ask us questions, and I be like, well, what did you do? You know what I mean? That's always the first thing I was coming out of my mouth. What did you do?
Right, because to be honest, the outcome of most situations are based on what you did.
Right.
What you do. Like, I know for a fact, a lot of things that went wrong in my marriage went that way because of what I chose to accept.
Right. It's what you do. I just said the same thing when it came to mine. Everybody was like, well, what did you do? I'll be like, everything.
All right. Well, you can't blame her for doing anything.
What she did.
Right.
Well, you did everything.
Right.
You done sat here and did all the bad shit, and now you want to sit here and act like. That's another thing too, people. You're dealing with the relationship, and that person play the victim
all the time.
All the time. When you get to a certain part in your life, you gotta stop playing the motherfucking victim. Victim doesn't work no more. Look, look. I get it in the first couple times. Oh, it's your fault. No. But if you are dealing with somebody, that's the first thing you fucking go to every time. That's your only defense that you have. It's you.
Right.
It's not them.
Right.
It's you.
Right.
And I'm not. And like I said, one thing I say this, and I mean it because it's the type of person that I am. I don't like to see people sit here and say, well, it didn't work out because they wasn't the right person. Okay. But this is the third time this has happened. So you tell me all three of them are the right person.
Right. And you know how I am. I don't feel like you got to jump through a whole body to find your person.
Right.
You can, if you want to deal with something straight up. That's something that I've learned being single, that sooner or later, real shit gonna start coming up. Sheets gonna start coming off. Onions gonna start being unpeeled. And you get to see the real person after a while. And before you even in a real relationship, hey, this is not really what I signed up for. So, yeah,
right.
I'm out.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
You know what I mean? And let me tell y'all something, people. You don't have to stay in that shit.
Nope.
And that's why I try to tell people, you don't have to stay in it. Now, if you choose to stay in it, now it's on you. You know what I mean? Because if you got your way to get out, get your ass out and go find something else. But if you want to sit there and be in this relationship, deal with this bullshit, and then, I'm sorry, I'm not going to listen to you cry about it. If I know that you're being in it because you want to be in it. You can't, look, you can't do me like that. I'm the type of person that's, okay, you want out.
What's the plan?
What's the plan?
Right.
You ain't got one? Well, come back to me when you got one. Hit me up, be like, Gavin, man, I got a plan. Let's do it. Right. Y'all already know that's me.
Right.
Let's do it. You know what I mean? So, I think we finished this one.
Yeah.
I think we finished this one.
I
think we got it all out. Once again, I want y'all to say happy birthday to Lady J. I know it's late. She had we hung out on Sunday.
I'm tired because I'm old.
she tired, boss. She tired. Him downstairs. Who the fuck is him?
So silly.
Like, I ain't got no name. What else is there, Lady J? Oh, why don't you do me a favor? I've been wanting you to do, since we do got some ladies in the house, I see a couple of y'all. Tell them about it.
Tell them about my thing?
Tell them about your
okay,
thing.
well, I am the founder and the president of Aries Behavior, which is basically a ladies or woman's group. This woman's group is geared to bettering ourselves and getting ourselves together so that we can close the generational gap that we have between our generation and the generation under us. Certain things that we have unlearned or willing to unlearn, we need to start teaching the younger girls under us. So this Friday, we are having a revision party. At the beginning of the year, a lot of times people set their goals and do vision boards, but it's the middle of the year, and a lot of times
we don't get there.
We don't get to those goals, and we have, gotten sidetracked. So now we need to, get our shit back together again. So you can follow Aries Behavior on Facebook at Aries Behavior or on Instagram, which is Aries Behavior LLC. If you would like to come to the event, it is a private event, so you need to RSVP ahead of time. And once you RSVP, you will get the details as far as the address and location. But it is this Saturday, the 18th at 2 p.m. So, if you're in the Tampa area, let me know. Hit me up, and we would love for you to come.
All right. Well, I tell you this, guys. I don't co-sign on a lot of things. And I got the pleasure of this past Sunday, because we all sit at the table, and I got to actually hear what these ladies are talking about. Let me tell you something. These ladies are the real deal. I'm not bullshitting with you. They are in this to help better women. They are some of the members in there, I don't know. Sister Trill, I love you to death. I don't mess with you the wrong way, because I don't want you to mess up my chakra.
Oh, Lord.
But no, really, on some real shit, these ladies are doing great things. They're about to do some other events. You know me. I'm a co-signer, so I'm gonna be right there when they say, Gavin, we need you. What you need me to lift? So, once again, I want to thank all of you guys for being in on this conversation that we had, this podcast. We do appreciate you. We love the love that you guys show us when we are out in the streets. I love it. I love it when they walk up to us.
Yeah.
When he said, man, I knew you from somewhere. I was sitting in the club, people, and he walked up to me and said, I knew you from somewhere. You look familiar. Yeah, you on the podcast? Yeah, that's me. That's me. And like I said, I love it. I appreciate you all. You guys keep us going a lot of times. Even when Lady J told me to get my ass up and come on.
Yeah, because he said we got to have a long discussion after this. We do.
So, I got to get off. I love you guys.
Yes, guys.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.